Hi, I got a potential repair today. We've got a JBL Charge 3 waterproof speaker. And these are really cool bits of kit. JBL pretty much own the waterproof speaker market. And this is an older model. I think they're now up to the Charge 5. Yeah, this has got old micro USB. The latest one's USB-C, and you can charge your shoe phone from it. And it's got a built-in battery. It's got two passive radiators on the side, and I do believe there's dual, high throw, wide range drivers in there. It's got a rubber baby buggy bumper on the bottom. So the idea is it just sits there, and you turn it on, and it's a Bluetoothy connected speaker. It does work. It's got the Bluetooth button there, plus minus volume. I don't know, is that a bass boost thing? And a play next, and it does actually work. So it does work, and it sounds pretty good. But
the 1 kilometre long solar roadway opened by the French Minister for Silly Walks here is going to be torn down.
It's got an awful lot of boost, and it mostly works, but it has a problem as sort of like, you can hear it when you power it on. Listen to this. It does a fart sound there, and I think it's only in the one, I think it might only be in that one side, maybe not. Doesn't do it when you power it off. Power on. Nah, sounds like it's coming from that side, so that's interesting. But anyway, it does have a lot of bass, this thing, this older model. I think the newer one's like 30 watts or something like that, so it's really groovy. It's waterproof. The whole idea is that, you can take it out, sit it beside your pool, and if it gets splashed or even if it falls in, no big deal. So yeah, I believe JBL own that market. Anyway, yeah, so it does that weird sort of distortion-y thing, and sometimes at high volume, it's sort of like it crackles and does, it's quite subtle, but it mostly works. But anyway, let's take this thing apart. Now, these end caps I thought might screw off, but they don't. It looks like the only way in is through here. So let's try and get in. Oh, hello. Hey, that was... Oh, I just switched it on. So, someone shut that guy up. Seriously. That's one big wrap, right? No, it looks like it. Did I crack it, or does it naturally fold there? Bloody camera's in the way. So I might have to get that screw out first, and that might be the wrap for that. So I get both of those screws out, and I think that might be part. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that holds on the wrap. That's a really nice design. There we go. Up under there, I thought there might have been one, and there you go. There's our dual driver, and looks in pretty good nick. I don't know how old it is, but it really is quite old. There you go. So there's the hinge part of that. So of course you're not going to stop water getting in there. It doesn't seem like it's had any major ingress there, so that looks okay. And inside here, so yeah, you're relying on all the plastic around here being waterproof, and the drivers are waterproof. They're not as long throw as I thought they would be, but they're not too shabby. So it looks like this might clip and slide and then clip out perhaps the end pieces, but we can take the charge cover off. So yeah, it's a really nice design. I rather like it. Not much room for a screwdriver in there, let me tell you. There's a whole bunch of clips here. So the mechanical engineer or engineers, it's usually engineer singular, has had a pretty fun time with this, I suspect. They go, whoa, it's not a square box, fantastic, it's round, and things have to clip in, and then got to figure out how to waterproof it, and then we got to figure... Hey, there we go. The speaker is... Ooh, look at that. Is that something there? Not entirely sure. All right, so yeah, that comes off there. Then we've got our charge. I probably don't need to actually get any of that off. This would be the driver up in here. That's the driving circuitry. We've got 5 LEDs there to show the charge status. The battery... battery wouldn't be, it's got a decent sized battery, I think, like 5,000 milliamp hour or something, so maybe tucked away in the speaker compartment perhaps. Now of course with a fault like this, you'd you know, just doing funny business, you'd expect maybe a cap's gone kaput somewhere. Maybe, but because, yeah, I thought it was only coming out that one side. That's interesting. So they're obviously, maybe they've got two separate power amps in there. Maybe that one side, the power amp, what was it driving over here? The right one, I guess we'll call it. Yeah, I can definitely hear the buzzing coming out of this right speaker. So it's got to have a separate power amp, and it probably is a stereo thing, although, you know, with them so close you don't get much of your stereo imaging. Oh yeah, I can see a O-ring seal along the container there. And haven't got them all out? No, there's one left. Oh, pesky. Okay, lucky last, I believe. And yeah, oh no, that's the actual battery compartment. There you go. I thought the electronics might be in there, but it's not. Anyway, there's no puffy business on that. So that looks okay. It's a great power. There you go, 6,000 milliamp hour, 22 watt hour jobby there. Made in China, of course. But yeah, it doesn't look to have had any water ingress, but that's, no, you can't really, there's no connector on that. So I was going to say, that's nice. You could, it's probably not that hard to replace if you had to. A custom-y size, I suspect. So, yeah, you can probably get replacements for them because these are a popular product. So that was a waste of time. So maybe our electronics is like, it's just one board, maybe, like attached their right angle on the board, perhaps. All right, those screws are out. And yeah, I can feel it. There's a board, definitely a board attached. Yeah, there we go. We've got some red blobs on the bottom. That's interesting. They ain't surface mount component glue. No, I think probably have to get the speakers off first. Maybe disconnect those internally before this is going to come out, I suspect. Just my luck. All right, there's one of the drivers. There you go. And yeah, there you go. It's two board construction in there. There's two different layers, and yeah, can probably just get in there and reach that connector. Geez, you want to have small hands at the JBL factory. Yeah, there's the other one. No, the big power amp board at the back. I think we've got to get the side passive radiators. Whoop, the two, oops, yeah. Oh, bad mistake, yeah. Oops, rookie mistake there. These are really powerful jobbies. JBL are a huge speaker company, so maybe they make their own drivers, I'm not sure. Or maybe they sub those out. Look at, I got it, what? No, come on, seriously? Well, that's a real pain. Got to desolder those if I want to get them out. I'll just leave them flapping around in the breeze for now. That power board ain't going to come out unless we get these side radiators off, I suspect. Oops, I didn't get that on camera. That was tricky. They've got these clips in here, so you have to get, they've got one either side, so you have to get like two screwdrivers like that and sort of like wedge them in there and then get your hand on top and twist in one direction, and the passive radiator is just what you expect. It's a passive radiator like that, and it's got fairly compliant, it's got rubber baby buggy bumpers on it, and there you have it. We can now try and access that main board there. Little wires going over there like that to there. Is that a microphone, is it? And that stuck in there looks like the Bluetooth antenna. And the cable, it's all, they've attention to detail, of course, on the foam and everything. The wires there are all foam covered so that they don't vibrate when the, when you get the large bass in there. So it's pretty good, but JBL know what they're doing. There you go. Managed to get the I/O board out, and then I can disconnect that connector, which then maybe I can now pull out this board, but I've got to like disconnect the microphone and the antenna and stuff, I guess. You got your cable going to your battery, and that's connected down to the amplifier board. So this is just nuts how tight this thing is. Maybe I should get the other end out and maybe slide it that direction, perhaps. Trust me to get the wrong end off. Those speakers are quite dangerous to each other, so I'll just tape them face to face so they're protected. We just stop and take a moment to reflect on the complexity of this mould. So any moulding experts out there, tell us, because this is kind of like one piece, although maybe they've done it in, like maybe this is inserted. No, it doesn't look like it. Looks like it's like one big piece, but how do you get like a moulding like that? I don't know. Leave it in the comments down below, but it's bloody impressive. Yeah, there you go. The other end is definitely the go. You can access both of those cables. Celestic down too. Nice. So I've got those cables out of there, but that antenna connector, it looks like it's soldered onto the board in there somewhere perhaps. But anyway, she is sliding now. There you have it. We are in, and little mini coax over there for the Bluetooth antenna. Got a ribbon cable buggering off. That must go up to the buttons there. So obviously, I've got a Class D audio amp happening there. And, well, the caps all look pretty good. And those caps, they're all solid because there's no vents on them. That one, though, that one there's got a vent, but it's not puffy. But all the others look to be solid, so that's all okay. So, oh, I was hoping it'd be, you know, an easy find, but don't think so. Right, under the Teardown microscope here, good news is we can still connect the battery here, and we're still connected the top panel as well. So I can switch this thing on. Maybe you don't need the speaker load on there to actually start probing stuff. So there's our TPA 3118 there, and that's our Class D audio amp, and it looks like we've got dual channel here, and these caps, as I said, these are solid jobbies, so it's well, they can still fail, but they're not a wet electrolyte like the others. Now, unfortunately, to measure those in circuit, look, I can get a probe on there, and they're just Celestic hard gunked right over the other terminal of both of those caps. Wouldn't you believe it? Bloody Murphy. Anyway, we got some JRC Japan Radio Corp op amps up here. They're just single or dual op amps. So can't remember the number offhand. But anyway, everything looks fairly decent. Although I might get in there, measure that 470 mic. Oh, no, again. The terminal. Seriously. So it seems to drive it at enough volume that it doesn't make me think that there's anything wrong with the power supply, and it's not like a problem when it's like overloaded kind of thing, although it seems to be more prevalent at high powers, which indicates, you know, maybe some, you know, the power supply could be dropping out, or there could be excess ripple there or something. But yeah, it causes that fart resonance kind of sound when it powers up. The first thing you do is look for visuals. There's nothing obvious in any of this, so I might measure a few caps in circuit if I can and get some of that gunk off. I don't know what supply this would use, because this chip can use anything from like 4 volts up to 26 volts, I think it is. That doesn't look like it's soldered, does it? But it is, just. And of course that's got a thermal pad on the bottom, so we flip it over, you can see that there's our thermal pad there, and just huge big ground plane. Oh, there's another thermal pad down in there. Lots of test points. That'd be for the production bed of nails tester. But anyway, like, it's not going to be anything over this side. You know, what's that? That's your processor module thing. I don't know. What's a what is it? AM875H version 1.0. So it's a little daughter board that's stuck on there. They've got a Burr Brown. That'd be a DAC, because you got to convert from the what you receive from the Bluetooth into your audio. So that's what that would be doing, I'd say. So let's probe that again. Sound off. Yep. And whoa, look at the size of that. That rail is suddenly gone massive. That's interesting. Now it's dropping. What's going on here? 12, that was, you know, 12 is what you'd kind of expect. Let's try and power it back on. No, and then it drops. Goes up to 12 and immediately drops down to 5. So follow the money here, right? This rail here, going through this MOSFET. It's going along the top here. So it's going right under there. And, oh, okay, it's going right back to, okay, it looks like it's going, yeah, it's going back to here. So it's going back to this 220 mic input cap here. There's a whole bunch of parallel caps there as well. That's for that switcher. So let's measure this, put it here. This would be our input. Okay, that's from our battery. And yeah, that's like 3.744 volts, okay? That's our battery charged up. So now we've got our switcher. So our output is all these beasties here. And jumps right up and then just discharges. That's fascinating. Why is it doing that? Is it going into some power saving mode because it's not playing music perhaps? Maybe it's got like selectable voltages, so it keeps the power amp at like just at 5 volts, powered at 5 volts, but if you, once you start playing music on the sucker, it would ramp it up perhaps?
What's going on? Is there something wrong with this meter? No.
There we go. I'm powering it. Someone shut that guy up. What voltage are we getting now? As you can hear from that annoying Aussie voice there, it's now working, but it's still only 5 volts. So I thought it might like, and look at that. Goes way up, and then really takes its time coming down, and then we power it on. So that TPS 61088 is a 10 amp fully integrated synchronous boost converter, exactly what you'd expect. 4.5 to 12.6 volts output voltage range, yep. 10 amp switch current, and of course it's designed for down to 2.7 volts input. So easily the 3.7 to 4 volt pack input we're talking about here. So yeah, why it's jumping up to that higher voltage, I don't know. Could there be something, an issue with this converter? I'm doubting it. It kind of seems deliberate that it's jumping up there. So you'd have to follow the control. You'd have to follow the money, follow the control line. Which pin is it? Now we're chasing a red herring down a rabbit hole now, but that's interesting. I just didn't expect the rail to jump up like that. I expected you to switch it on and it jumps up. If it's 5 volts, fine. If you want to power your amp at 5 volts, that's no problem whatsoever. I'm not sure you're going to get your 30 watts, your 15 watts a channel out of it. So the reason that they have these MOSFETs is because, look, the input, this is off at the moment. You have to trust me. You can't see the soft power button, okay? But we power it on and it jumps up. Jumps up to 12 volts or whatever, but immediately jumps back down. So I'm just gonna capture that, go a bit slower time base, and let's raise our trigger level there. A single shot capture. It'll do it when we power off now, probably. Little trigger. Yeah, look at that. Right, so it's jumped. There's a hard jump there from that 5 volts. Definitely 5 volts. So it is boosting. Right, it's boosting from our 4 volts, or just under 4 volts from our battery. It's boosting up to 5 volts, but then it jumps up to precisely 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. That's 12 volts. That's not a mistake, right? 12 volts seems to be set. So let's single shot capture that again, and now we'll turn it on instead of off. Boom, look at that. Jumps up, and then it ramps back down. We can do that slower, of course, but let's do that again. Tongue at the right angle. Man, look at that. That's interesting. Ooh, why has it done that? Oh, because I didn't let it... Okay. I didn't let it go down enough. I didn't let it discharge enough. Okay, so it's now off and it's discharged back to the battery voltage. Okay. So this is the input side to the MOSFET, so the output of the converter. Single shot. We'll switch it on. There it is. There's your nice clean. It ramps up. Well, it doesn't quite get to 12, does it? It goes up, and then boom, it gets to 12, and then it ramps back down. Perfect ramp back down to the boost voltage. And that's quite a significant time there. It's 200 milliseconds, you know, that's 600 milliseconds there before it actually does that. So, maybe that's just a furphy. So we could just be chasing a nothing burger there. Maybe that's what that converter does on startup. In that case, it's a pretty piss poor converter doing that sort of overshoot. But okay, for 600 milliseconds too. That's quite substantial. So I don't know. Could be chasing a red herring down a rabbit hole there. But so yeah, it's got nothing to do with that oscillation on startup though. The rail seems to be fine. So let's do the other side of the MOSFET there. I'm chasing fart noises. This is my career. All right, what I'm going to do now is probe the actual speaker itself. I still can't remember which one's what, but probe a speaker and see if we actually get that farting noise, shall we? So let's go. I'm going to power it on. I've got single shot trigger, 500 milliseconds per division at a suitable level. It'll take a bit to capture. Yep, there we go. Right. So here's this is 500 milliseconds per division. So, you know, like 1 second, 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds or something. And yeah, is this the farting thing? I don't know. Let me change the speaker. Can I save a reference? I don't think I've ever tried to save a reference waveform on this National Instruments thing. So remember that waveform. We'll capture that again. So just turn it off. Single shot. And come on. Yeah, it's there, right? It's exactly the same. So we're getting the same coming out of both speakers. So I swear that fault is not there anymore. And I can't hear it, but the acoustics are different. When you've got the speakers out of the acoustic chamber like this, it sounds significantly different actually, because they're quite wimpy drivers without the acoustic volume there behind it. But what? The fault's not there anymore. Just my luck, right? What's this, a half-hour video or something, looking at this thing, and the fault's not there. It's the white coat. It's the lab coat syndrome, where the thing never fails. Though if you don't know, the white coat or lab coat syndrome is when, you know, like, you've got something and it's failing, and then when you, like, tell everyone and everyone comes around to watch, look, it's going to fail, and they're all standing there with their lab coats going, okay, show us the failure, and wah, 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 it doesn't fail. So that's the white coat syndrome. It's happened to me countless times. It's not there anymore. So what the hell do I do? Right, so I had to go back to my original recorded video from the microphone in the edit to actually see the waveform that I got, the audio waveform, and it actually looks, so this is the one I just captured, and by the way, they're both identical. So this is the one, the other channel, and this is that channel. So they're absolutely identical, right? Yeah, there's no difference whatsoever there. So if I show you what I recorded here, okay, now I'm going to have to expand this out. I'm going to have to expand the time base out because it's not the same. Yeah, so basically this extra bit at the end, which looks all weird, that's the extra, like, that's after the long pause there. So the fart sound is actually in this envelope here. So this basically matches what I've recorded here, right? We've got these peaks here, 1, 2, 3 of them like this, and you've got to remember this green one here, that's coming from a microphone, so all the acoustics are different and everything, right? Because the speakers are in the acoustic chamber, but the envelopes are there, right? 1, 2, 3, and then it sort of rises a bit, rises. Okay, there's something going on in here, but that's neither here nor there. I'm not going to worry about that. The actual fart sound, the actual distortion is in this envelope here, and this is a perfect envelope on both speakers. So the fault is definitely not there anymore. Would you believe it? So yeah, that, like, look at the damn thing.
So take a look at that. You can see that there's like, it's sort of like an kind of an envelope-y shape there in the higher density stuff, but then you've got these, you know, and that's the fart noise, is you get in, like, because this is really high amplitude here, right? So you get in all these spikes at, looks like at regular intervals. I could get in there and I could measure the difference and everything. It doesn't matter, right? There's these fart noises coming in here, and it's supposed to be this really nice envelope, which is what we're now seeing. So I've fixed it by taking it apart. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm really not concerned about this here. This could just be the resonance of the speaker on the bench or whatever, because it's not in the chamber. But there's definitely not that farting noise that we got. So there you go. I'm chasing farts. That could be the name of this video, chasing farts. See what the YouTube algorithm does with that. But there you go. That's ridiculous, right? I go to all the effort. It's a pain in the ass to take this thing apart, and then it doesn't fail on me, right? Power it up on the bench, and it just doesn't come back. So I bet you if I put this back together, it won't. Will it come back or not? I doubt it. I think it's gone. And look, you could speculate until the cows come home of what was causing that. Go ahead, leave it in the comments down below, please. But no, I'm done with this video right now. I think I'm just done chasing. Sorry, but the fault's not there, and because otherwise, like, it sounded perfect, except that sort of occasionally it'd give the farty kind of noise in. It wasn't quite the same thing as the farty thing in the music playback, but it was distorting and doing, you know, just an occasional little like packet of distortion or something like that. So yeah, and it was doing it consistently on the startup of this thing, yet it's not doing it on the bench here. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to leave it here. I'll eventually put it back together, and if I do, I'll chuck a video on the second channel showing you, yeah, whether or not it's there. But please speculate down below what you think this problem was, and I just threatened it with a repair again. I didn't do one recently. I threatened it with repair, and it just fixed itself. Just by taking it apart or threatening to take it apart, it fixed itself. Bloody, this is my luck, right? Try and do a repair video and nah, and the fault's not there. So I'm not going to go chasing my tail. Anyway, hope you found that video useful. If you did, give it a big thumbs up, and as always, discuss down below. Catch you next time.